What is it like just to see the Earth from above and to be? You lived up there for like what, 95 days?
95 days, which actually is kind of a bummer, to be honest with you, because you know this if you saw that video maybe. But
Yeah.
The thing is, if you stay for 100 days, they give you a patch, right? And I'm at day 95, and the Space Shuttle Discovery shows up to bring me home, and Mark Kelly was the commander. He goes, "Garrett, it's time to hop in and come home." And I'm like, man, I just need 5 more days
To get that patch.
Can't we just like go around a few more times or something? And didn't work.
It seems like 95 days should be enough, man. Give the man a patch.
Right. You know, how much does a patch cost?
What's the longest anybody stayed up there?
The longest for an American was Scott Kelly's, nearly a year in space, as longest in a row, basically. But it was a Russian that stayed up there for longer than a year, and he has the all-time record.
When they come back, like what is 90 days like coming back? Because I've talked to people who've gone there. When they come back, their balance is all off, the equilibrium's all screwy.
You're kind of you're kind of messed up, and your vestibular system is what's affected the most. At least that's what's most noticeable when you first get back. Actually, the first thing I noticed, let me back up, is how heavy things were again. You know, so I took off my helmet and I was holding it in my hand, and it felt like I was holding the anchor to the USS Nimitz. You know, it's like I'm like, how am I ever going to brush my teeth? It'd be like too arduous. You know.
Does your body severely weaken in 95 days?
Well, back in the day, back when I was going there, so that mission, my long-term mission was back in 2008. And back then, we were still losing bone density and muscle mass as we're going up there. You lost about 1% of bone every month. So I was about 3% low.
They don't anymore?
They don't anymore, because we found out, we came up with better countermeasures to prevent that.
What are the countermeasures?
It's basically working out. And it's resistive exercise that does it for you, which we knew back when I was going. But the problem was we had we had this machine that was kind of a first generation of the workout machine, and it could do large reps but low load. So you're doing like a lot of reps at low weight, and that helped. But what helps, it turns out, we found this out kind of by happenstance, but it turns out that high load, low reps works much better. And so we got this new machine that you could really crank it up to 11. And the guys now that are working out on that thing are coming home with no muscle or bone loss at all.
Wow, that's because what's the Canadian gentleman that we had on? Yes, Chris Hadfield. When Commander Hadfield came back, I believe he said it took him a whole year to recover.
Yeah, I mean that was still like still kind of in the early days. So he I don't know which machine he used. He probably did use a new one. But overall, it does take, to get everything back, to get your full vestibular system back, your sense of balance, to get all your bone, all your muscle back to baseline. It took me a year to get all that back, too.
Wow.
It's kind of like rehabbing from a major sports injury.
That's got to be so strange. Your body just wants to shrivel up when you're up there because there's no gravity.
Yeah, it's really interesting because it's an adaptation, and the body is incredible. So what it's doing is it's realizing, hey, you know, I don't have to carry my own weight anymore. So why do I need this big, bulky skeleton, right?
Wow.
It's like you're becoming kind of like a fish where you're shedding all the bone density because you don't have to. Your body realizes I don't need it. It's like a fish in water. You know how fish have very slender bones.
That's an interesting way to look at it, like a fish.
Yeah.
Wow.
And we fight it by working out.
And how often do you have to work out? Every day?
Every day.
Every day. How often? Like how much time?
They schedule 2 hours. Now you're not on the machine for 2 hours, so it's also prepping. You know, you're getting changed and cleaning up afterwards. But so you're working out a good hour every day.
What is it like to sweat in space?
It's weird because what happens is if you don't notice, like in the beginning you don't even realize it, but it's all building up. And even without, like, if you have no hair to soak it up, it just builds up like this thin film of water on your head, like a coating of water. And you don't even notice it because it doesn't run down. And then somebody calls your name and you're like, yeah, and then
Oh, that's crazy. I never even thought of that. So it just kind of floats off your body.
Yeah, it's like a dog shaking itself, and it just goes everywhere. And
So if you have it on your arm, you can kind of just go whoosh, and the sweat will go flying.
your crewmates won't be too happy with you if you do this a lot, but yeah.
Wow. Oh, is there video of people doing that in space?
There's got to be.
There should be.
We've shot
right?
so much video. Somebody's got to have done that, but...
So are you basically doing like compound movements like deadlifts and squats and things along those lines?
Yeah, functional fitness kind of stuff and you're focusing on certain areas. So the bone loss comes mostly from your legs because you're not loading. So basically our bones need a stimulus to regenerate, and it happens to us every day. So as you walk, as you go upstairs, that load that the bones feel, the compressive load, is telling the bone, hey, make some more. Now you take that away, and the bone stops making more, and that's the problem. People say, can't you just take calcium pills? But it's not a mineral deficiency.
It's just a load.
It's no load.
That's